Alright, so we're going to look at using the percent equation, and the percent equation looks like the following. Percent times base equals amount, or you can shorten that up into saying P times B equals A, and it's percent of the base is the amount. So when you hear the of, that's referring to the base, and you always multiply the base times the percent. And then if you see the word is, that's telling you where the equal sign is. You'll notice I put a little asterisk here. That's because when you do calculations, you don't actually use percentages as percentages. You always turn them into a decimal or a fraction. So for example, let's say we had 25%, you could put in 0.25, so 25% as a decimal, or you could put in 1/4, 25% as a fraction into your formula. So you don't actually do calculations of percent as percents. So there's three values here: percent, base, and amount. And we're going to look at different problems where you know two of the three. So you may know the percent and the base, but not the amount. You may know the percent and the amount, but not the base. You might know the base and the amount, but not the percent. So those are the three basic setups of questions. So I'm going to show an example of each one of those. So let's say we're asked to find 3.25% of 680. Well, another way of saying find 3.25% of 680 is what is 3.25% of 680. So if I write that in my formula, notice this is flipped around. The what is, that's telling me my unknown equals, and the of 680 is telling me that's the base. So you always multiply the percent times the base. And so this is just a direct translation. Now I can't work with 3.25% as 3.25%. I need to turn that into a fraction or a decimal. So I know 3.25 is the same as 3.25, but this is 3.25%. I still haven't changed it into a decimal yet. So remember, to turn a percent to a decimal, move the decimal 2 places to the left, and this becomes 0.0325. That's what I'm going to put in my equation. And now I just have to multiply 0.0325 times 680, and that gives me 22.1. So that is what 3.25% of 680 is. Let's say we're asked what's 16 2/3% of what is 5. So again, the of is referring to the base, is referring to the equal sign. So I'm going to take my percent times what, and that's going to equal 5. So in place of what, I'm going to put x. Again, I can't work with 16 2/3% as a percent, so I need to turn that to another format. So, maybe I might be tempted to say, okay, what is that as a decimal? Well, 2/3 is 0.6 repeating forever. So if I move the decimal 2 spots over, I get 0.166666 forever, so 0.16 repeating. The problem with that is I can't really do any exact math with that. I can't put 0.16 repeating forever in my calculator. So that format is not going to be very useful to me. And I don't want to round things. I want to be exact when I'm doing this work. Other types of problems we may do some rounding, but here I want to be exact. So instead of turning this into a decimal, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this 16 2/3% into a fraction. So the first thing I'm going to do is make this mixed number an improper fraction. So 50/3%. Now notice it's still a percent. I haven't turned it to a fraction yet. So I'm going to remind myself that percent means per 100, or out of 100, or divided by 100. So this is 50 divided by 3, all of that divided by 100, or in other words, 50 divided by 3 divided by 100 divided by 1. That's the same as 100. Well, I know I don't divide fractions, I multiply by the reciprocal. So I take 50 over 3 times 1 over 100, and then working that out, 50 over 300 reduces down to 1/6. That's what 16 2/3% is as a fraction. So I'm going to put that into my expression. And now I'm going to solve this for x. So 1/6 times x equals 5. I want to get x by itself. Well, I'm going to divide both sides by 1/6. And that'll get rid of that. And again, 5 is the same as 5 over 1. So when we divide this, we're going to do 5 over 1 times the reciprocal of 1/6, or 5/1 times 6/1. So 30/1 or 30 is our answer. Alright, and then what percent of 80 is 230? So again, of is referring to the base, so you're going to take the percent times 80, and that's going to equal the 230. Is referring to the equal sign. Now, I don't know what the percent is, so I'm just going to put an x there. So x times 80 is the same as 80x. So to get x by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 80. And that's going to give me 2.875, which, remember, I want to get a percent. So this is a decimal version of the answer, so I need to move the decimal now 2 spots to the right and make this 287.5%. Or if you wanted, you could say 287.5% if you wanted to use a fraction value instead. So those are the 3 types of problems. And again, the numbers are going to be a little bit different. I tried to pick some problems that I could show some different aspects of the difficulties you're going to run into. Not all of them are going to be as complicated maybe as the ones I showed here. But that'll give you a general idea of how to set those 3 basic types of problems up. When you either know the percent in the base, look for the amount, or you'll know the base in the amount, like in this problem, and you'll be looking for the percent, or maybe you'll know the percent and the amount and you're looking for the base. So you'll know 2 of the 3. You just need to figure out who's who, put them in the right spot into your percent equation, and then just solve it from there.